राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Nitai Gaur Hari Shri Charan Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, everyone. We are now going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam Mahapurana, Canto 1, Parīkṣit cursed by a Brahmana boy. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 1, Chapter 18, text number 33. Aho adharmaḥ pālānāṁ, pīvnāṁ bali-bhujām iva, svāminy agham yad dāsānām dvāra-pānāṁ śunām iva aho adharmaḥ pālānām pīvnām bali-bhujām iva svāminy agham yad dāsānām dvāra-pānāṁ śunām iva aho adharmaḥ pālānām pīvnām bali-bhujām iva svāminy agham yad dāsānām dvāra-pānāṁ śunām iva aho. Just look at adharmaḥ, irreligion. I'm sorry. Please chant. Aho adharmaḥ pālānām pīvnām bali-bhujām iva svāminy agham yad dāsānām dvāra-pānāṁ śunām iva. Anyone? Aho adharmaḥ pālānām pīvnām bali-bhujām iva svāminy agham yad dāsānām dvāra-pānāṁ śunām iva aho adharmaḥ pālānām pīvnām bali-bhujām iva svāminy agham yad dāsānām dvāra-pānāṁ śunām iva. Word for word, aho. Just look at adharmaḥ, irreligion, pālānām, of the rulers, pīvnām, of one who is brought up, bali-bhujām, like the crows, iva, like svāminy, unto the master, agham, sin, yat, what is, dāsānām, of the servants, dvāra-pānāṁ, keeping watch at the door, śunām, of the dogs, iva, like. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The brāhmaṇa's son, Śṛṅgi, said, "Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants." Purport. The brāhmaṇas are considered to be the head and brains of the social body, and the kṣatriyas are considered to be the arms of the social body. The arms are required to protect the body from all harm, but the arms must act according to the directions of the head and brain. That is a natural arrangement made by the supreme order, for it is confirmed in the Bhagavad-gītā that 4 social orders or castes namely the brāhmaṇas, the kṣatriyas, the vaiśyas, and the shudras, are set up according to quality and work done by them. Naturally, the son of a brāhmana has a good chance to become a brāhmana by the direction of his qualified father. As a son of a medical practitioner, has a very good chance to become a qualified medical practitioner. So, the caste system is quite scientific. The son must take advantage of the father's qualification and thus become a brāhmana or medical practitioner, and not otherwise. Without being qualified, one cannot become a brāhmana or medical practitioner, and that is the verdict of all scriptures and social orders. Herein Śṛṅgi, a qualified son of a great brāhmana, attained the required brahminical power, both by birth and by training, but he was lacking in culture. Because he was an inexperienced boy, by the influence of Kali, the son of a brahmana became puffed up with brahminical power and thus wrongly compared Mahārāja Parīkṣit to crows and watchdogs. The king is certainly the watchdog of the state. In the sense that he keeps vigilant eyes over the border of the state for its protection and defense. But to address him as a watchdog is a sign of less cultured boy. Thus, the downfall of a brahminical powers began, as they gave importance to birthright without culture. The downfall of the brahmana caste began in the age of Kali, and since brahmanas are the heads of the social order, all other orders of society also began to deteriorate. This beginning of brahminical deterioration was highly deplored by the father of Śṛṅgi, as we will find. So, translation. The brahmana's son Śṛṅgi said, "Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles of governing servants." Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvayeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. This verse is very instructive for us. I mean to say the purport given by Srila Prabhupada. So in this verse, you are hearing about the Brahmana's son Śṛṅgi, the Shamik Rishi's son Śṛṅgi, powerful son, but inexperienced boy, cursed Mahārāja Parīkṣit, who was a Mahābhagavat. He was a Uttam Adhikari and Mahābhagavat. So that was the misuse of power of a brāhmaṇa boy. But the power he had already as a brāhmaṇa, and he misused. He cursed the protector of the nation and who was also a Mahābhagavat by calling Mahārāja Parīkṣit with the words crow, watchdog and servant, which is the sign of uncultured person. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned about the culture 3 times in the purport. So it is very important. And that was Srila Prabhupada's mission also, to spread the Brahmanical culture all over the world, or to re-spiritualization of the whole planet by spreading Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness culture, also known as Brahmanical culture or Vedic culture. How it is Brahmanical culture? Brahmanical culture is the social position where everyone is assisted to elevate his consciousness to the highest understanding of his own self, the position and composition of the soul, the culture of the soul, the culture of the knowledge of the soul was prevalent in Vedic times. Everyone has got this the opportunity to understand Brahman, the soul, Atma, and Atma's position, composition, and still it is important. And throughout the whole world, ISKCON is doing this. Srila Prabhupada wanted this varnashram system or Brahmanical culture throughout the world, so everybody can achieve some opportunity. Here also we understand that how the Brahmanical culture fell apart. The downfall of Brahmanas or Brahmanical culture was the beginning of Kali's influence on this planet. If we try to understand when exactly the Kali began to exhibit its influence on this planet, we understand from this incident that when a Brahmana is become puffed up means proud or pride, that was the reason for the breaking down of the Vedic culture. Previously, the Vedic culture was prevalent all over the planet. But when it was the time for the Kali Yuga to enter into this planet, the the Kali Yuga first started his journey. The personality of Kali started its journey from India. India was always very culturally advanced country, spiritually advanced country. Spiritual culture was the culture. If India is defeated, if India gives up the culture, the spiritual culture, then whole world can be under the influence of Kali very easily. And it's going on. First, the Vedic culture vanished from outside of India, the Western world or other world. And it took little time in India to break this. And it's very quickly happening. Vanishing of spiritual culture is taking place. But by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Guru Parampara, our Srila Prabhupada, again started to spread this Brahmanical culture throughout the world. And it is very important. This Brahmanical culture, also known as Vaishnava culture, is beyond the bodily conception of life. Understanding the self, the Brahman or the soul, is not based on material conception of life. So, Śṛṅgi was a little boy, inexperienced boy, but he acquired so much power, achieved so much power by culture and training. But he misused. Not by culture, by birth and training. By birth and training, Srila Prabhupada said. But he was lacking culture. Because it takes time to adopt the culture for each of every one of us. When a child, we see they're not so much cultured. We constantly train them into the culture. So it takes time. But the point is, when Brahmana is proud, the pride comes before fall. The pride is the real cause of our also falling down. The pride is rooted into the bodily conception of life. And it gives a sense of superiority over others. And to hate others on the basis of this pride that I'm superior than you, and can misuse the position. And opposite is pridelessness. In Gita also we know humility, pridelessness, simplicity, peacefulness. These are the good qualities, Brahmanical qualities. Shama, Dama, Shaucha, Arjavam. In 18th chapter Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna says that cleanliness, control of the mind, control of the senses, and simplicity, and faith in the scriptures, and living the life according to the scriptures. These are the qualities of a brahmana. So, also Mahaprabhu also said the same thing. Trinadapi sunichena taroropi sahishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Amanina manadena, these things are also Brahmanical qualities. Pridelessness, simplicity, and humility. As a Vaishnavas, also we make mistakes. Then again we have to correct ourselves. Immediately we understand when we make mistakes. The super soul gives us the realization that I have done some mistakes over here, and we have that awful feeling that that was not me. I have to correct myself. That's why as a Vaishnava you always pray to other Vaishnavas, be merciful unto us, and forgive my all offenses. So forgiveness and humility, pridelessness, these are very basic qualities of a Brahmana or a Vaishnava. Śṛṅgi, due to the not being very cultured, he misused the power. And he cursed the most qualified king, Mahārāja Parīkṣit, who was a Mahabhagavat. And due to his good government, Śṛṅgi was so powerful because of his part of his protection for the citizens. The king or kṣatriyas are responsible for protecting the citizens, means protecting the citizens' spiritual consciousness. Ultimately, this is the protection. Just like we know we are the parts and parcels of Krishna, we are the souls, we must protect this knowledge and experience and feelings. This is our foremost duty, to preserve our spiritual identity, preserve our spiritual position, not to forget who we are in reality. Because of the forgetfulness of our reality, the real spiritual position, spiritual identity, we make so many mistakes, no doubt. But still the Vaishnavas always try again to rise to the spiritual platform. This is the special quality of a Vaishnava. And this good news we have to spread to others, that you are not the material body. And this spiritual culture is rooted to the spiritual conception of life. Therefore, it is very important to have this culture spread all over the world. Individually, we must preserve ourselves, our consciousness, our sense of identity, and protect and put into practice also others. And this is the spiritual culture, to assist others. If we are not doing that, then as a whole society, definitely we would not flourish. Again, we'll be suffering birth after birth. There will be no relief from any suffering. A Brahmana or a Vaishnava understands very well that there's no resting place all over the three worlds. We may wonder, actually we are wondering, throughout the 14 planetary systems, throughout the three worlds, upper planetary systems, middle and lower, we've been wondering since time immemorial. Is eternally we are here. And if we try to give up this culture, because in our spiritual culture also there is struggle, challenges, there are also problems. But if we think, let me give up these things, it's very hard. Let's go back to the old habits or old kind of materialistic way of life. At least we can have some material pleasure and material happiness. So that will be okay with me. Not at all. Another Brahmana or enlightened soul remind us that if we give up this spiritual culture and go to the old culture based on material conception of life, then we'll have to go back to the cycle of birth and death. There will be no relief. Practically, there's no resting place, no peace anywhere that we are looking for. But when we have these feelings that I am part and parcel of Krishna, I am soul, immediately we become disconnected from the material energy and we are connected with the spiritual energy. And then we have become conducted by the spiritual energy. We'll see later that when Mahārāja Parīkṣit understood that the Śṛṅgi, the Brahmana boy, the inexperienced boy of Shamik Rishi, cursed him to die within 7 days, he would not protest. He would accept wholeheartedly as the mercy of Krishna. How it is possible to accept the death warrant with so much grace and not to retaliate with anything. Mahārāja Parīkṣit also was capable of counteracting this curse or do something. He had the power also. But he accepted as the arrangement of Lord Krishna, because he was Mahabhagavat. When he was in the womb of his mother, already he tolerated the fire of the and burning of the Brahmastra. But for some reason, if we understand the storyline, that when he was wandering the world, the forested areas of his kingdom, he was very much thirsty and hungry and tired, fatigued, too much. He was so much overwhelmed by the hunger and thirst. In search of water, he entered in the hermitage of Brahmana, the Shamik Rishi, and he saw Shamik Rishi was in trance. And we heard that he had no external awareness of anything, that the king entered the room and king asked for water. He didn't have any awareness, and Mahārāja Parīkṣit, see, very unusual things were happening that day. He was too much overwhelmed out of thirst and hunger, and then he became angry by not having any response from Shamik Rishi and not being welcomed by anyone and not being offered water, sweet words, anything. So he became very angry. And while he was going, that was also an unusual thing, when he was leaving the place, he saw a dead snake. That was also there at the right time, at the right place, or wrong time, at the wrong time, at the wrong place, or something. It was like arranged. Immediately he picked up the dead snake and placed around the neck of the rishi, as if he was not acting as a normal person, but by the influence of something. So these things clearly show that he was conducted by the higher principle or Krishna's power, Krishna's will. When he was returning to his kingdom, then he was understanding that he made a mistake, or he was arguing with himself that really the sage was in trance or he was pretending. This type of mentality, when it comes, should be also very careful. These are the very great lessons for us. We should stop and think. And Mahārāja Parīkṣit did not do it. He was just conducted by some higher energy or higher principle or something. And Śṛṅgi also did not think about what would be the consequences after giving the curse to the king. In this way, we understand that we are not independent. Either we are being conducted by the material energy or we are being conducted by the spiritual energy. We have a choice. If we give ourselves to the material energy, we come under the influence of the material energy. That means 3 modes of material nature. Sometimes we act in the mode of goodness, sometimes we act in the mode of passion, or sometimes we act in the mode of ignorance. But we have to go beyond that. We have to come to the transcendental position, so we would not be acting under the influence of the material energy, but by the Lord's will. We know that Lord Jesus also said that, praying to Lord, not my will, thy will be done. This is very important for us. Being surrendered to Krishna means surrendering our mind and intelligence to Krishna. Mani arpita mano buddhir. Yes, I don't want to be conducted by anyone but you, O my Lord, by your will. Then we come under the will of Lord when we give ourselves to Krishna. Otherwise, there will be no end of this perpetual cycle of birth and death. It's so vicious cycle, and there's no relief of pain and suffering anywhere within this material existence. So that is not our option at all, to be conducted by the material energy and to be bound up by the will of birth and death. That is not our option at all. Our only option is Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. If we give ourselves to Krishna, Krishna is ready to accept us. And that is the promise we achieve from Bhagavad-gītā. He says, Mamai Vangsha Jivoloke, you are mine. So we are all Krishnas. That feeling we must carry. We are always Krishnas. No matter in what position we are in, I may be a brāhmaṇa, I may be a kṣatriya, shudra, or vaiśya, or brahmachari, grihastha, or vanaprasthi, or sannyasi. The position is not changing anywhere. Maybe I live in the spiritual world or material world. My position is not changing. Or maybe the upper planetary system or lower planetary system. But my position is not changing anywhere. Here Prabhupada is saying that a brāhmana son has very good chance to become a brāhmana because of his father's training. Just like a son of a medical doctor has very good chance to become a medical doctor by training and by birth. So Srila Prabhupada says this is the scientific understanding of caste. But this is not all in all. This is not all in all. There is a chance, of course. So anyone can be a pure devotee. Anyone can be a Mahabhagavata, no matter what is our background or what is our status, any situation. We blame others. This is our, disease for our own problems. We blame others, and we'll see Mahārāja Parīkṣit would not blame anyone, would accept the responsibility. This is very wonderful lesson we are understanding. We must stop blaming others for our own struggle, difficulties, or problems, either material or spiritual. There is a solution, always a solution. What is the solution? To remain under the shelter of the spiritual energy. Krishna's protection is always there for us. Krishna is available for us all the time. And he says, Mamai Vangsha Jivoloke, you are my part and parcels. Pita aham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. I'm the father, I'm the mother. I'm everything for you. I'm your destination, Gatir, Bharta, Prabhu, Sakshi. I'm the maintainer, I'm the provider, I'm the protector, I'm the Lord and Master. So the devotees also say, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Subdurlava. These two verses are very important for understanding. When Krishna says, you are mine, we must understand we are only Krishna's. So we have to change the side, our side of being whom? Who is mine? Whose am I? Who am I? These three questions are the same. We have to change our sides. We have to go to the Krishna's side. Krishna is always in the center, most prominent. We are in the periphery. We never think, we should not think that I am the most prominent person because of my ability or my power, everything is happening in my life. This is wrong conception. Even we should not think that this is due to my karma, my activities, my things. No. Already I have come under the control of Krishna. Now Krishna's plan, according to Krishna's plan, according to Krishna's will, everything is happening in my life. If we see in terms of me and mine, that means I'm giving most prominence to me, not Krishna. Life should be just according to Krishna, not according to mine. When we come under the control of Krishna voluntarily, accepting Krishna all in my life, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Sudurlava, then we should remain under the full protection of Krishna. Whatever Krishna desires, let it happen. Not according to my desire, my plan. And be ready to be conducted by Krishna. These are the solutions. Blaming others is not the solution for anyone. Because of him, because of that, or because of this problem or that problem, I'm not progressing in my spiritual life. If that one is removed, or this one is removed, I'll be first-class devotee. It's not. At this moment, I have to be first-class devotee. Means completely surrendered to the will of the Lord. That we are going to see simultaneously. The downfall of Brahmanical culture and the entrance of Kali with full power to exert its influence, spread its influence all over the world. At the same time, Mahabhagavata's life, how he accepts these all opposing elements or opposite situations. He accepted wholeheartedly the will of the Lord. So, because of his acceptance, this Srimad Bhagavatam appeared on this planet. So, it's not that when we accept Krishna's full control, accept Krishna's full will, his supremacy in our life will be always winner. Ultimate gain is we gain Krishna's favor, we gain Krishna's mercy, and we become eligible for going back home, back to Godhead. We see with this drastic incidents, Mahārāja Parīkṣit got the chance to go back to Krishna in a very short time. Although it is very painful, very painful. But still, because of being a Mahabhagavat, it was like that. Just like we feel separation from Krishna, Krishna also feels separation from the pure devotees. So therefore, whatever assignment is being given to the pure devotee, he fulfills. And after that, Krishna calls him back. This is very Krishna's kind arrangement for all of us. So we have to be also very ready. If Krishna's call is there to leave this world, happily we must accept it. Actually, this is our spiritual culture, to become ready, to remain ready. If there is a call for joining Krishna in his service, we should accept without any tinge of unhappiness that we see in the life of Mahārāja Parīkṣit. This readiness of going back home, back to Godhead, it takes a lot of courage to accept the will of the Lord. It's not easy. Final will is, let's go home. So, as a devotee, practicing devotee, we must understand that is the goal of our life, joining Krishna, not to be desirous to stay here and do the same thing, means bhakti. Of course, the pure devotees have the top desire, prime desire to remain engaged in the service of the Lord. And with that, the program is also included for going back home, back to Godhead, to remain engaged in different position, in different way. So in this way, we understand a lot of things, a lot of points in this purport. And one thing, addressing Mahārāja Parīkṣit as crow and watchdog and servant, that shows that how haughty he was. The crow means when we discard anything outside in the garbage, crow gets it. To say this is very uncultured manner, you know. This is not the right word to address the king. He forgot all the benefits we all receive from the government or from the king. Watchdog, yes, he keeps the country protected, and servant of the higher caste, that is brāhmaṇa. Actually, king also can order the brāhmaṇas, and brāhmaṇas also can order the king. Vice versa. Means, order means here paying respects. I mean to say paying respect. Brāhmaṇas are independent, of course, but paying respects. Even the brāhmaṇas also pay respect to king, because they know the king protects us and gives us the full facilities to perform our daily worship, and we need that. And as well as the kings or the kṣatriyas should take directions or information from brāhmaṇas, because they are independent and they are very much neutral. So in this way, mutual cooperation must be there in a society, everywhere. So this is the point we have learned. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. This verse gives us so much enlightenment, and Srila Prabhupada also explained very nicely. And we also learned that how to behave ourselves, not to practice destructive behavior, but very cooperative behavior, respecting everyone, consider everyone, appreciate everyone. This culture is known as Brahminical culture. Respecting, considering, consideration, and appreciation must be practiced by everyone, and that is called Vaishnava culture too. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Is there anything to add or any comment or anything?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you
Hare
very much
Krishna.
for your class. One observation is Śṛṅgi was associating with some inexperienced boys. This was mentioned a few verses before. He was playing with them when he heard what happened with his father. And Prabhupada says in the verse, he has both birth, like from a brāhmaṇa family, and he is also training. But doesn't culture come with training? Because what experience can the boys have? With training, they should be able to behave properly. Experience comes later on. But then he had some bad association as well. So to bring up a child in a society that's weak, it's very much a challenge, because the teachers are there, the parents are there, but then the influence is also there from inexperienced boys who are not behaving in a proper culture. And also to maintain a wife in a society that's weak, it's also a big challenge, because the husband only has so much to do, and the wife could easily become a victim of bad association. So it's very important that we live in a society where the culture is practiced, because we are a society, we cannot just depend on ourselves, we very much need association, and whether you want it or not, there is influence of bad association if we live in a very big society, and so many things are going wrong in our institution. And I wonder whether it attributes to the leadership not being weak and not able to establish strong Krishna conscious societies in our movement. This is an observation. And my question is, you mentioned that it's painful. It was painful for Parīkṣit Maharaj to go back to Godhead. But he relished, he accepted the curse, he relished the discourse of Bhagavatam over 7 days, and he allowed the snake to come and bite him, and we very happily went back to Godhead. So I couldn't understand what was the painful part for Parīkṣit Maharaj.
Yeah, to receive the death warrant. You see, the crime and punishment, there's no balance. Painful means here, we see the scene. Immediately he separated himself from the family, and the responsibility, I'm not remembering that I said it was painful. Means it is painful for us if we get death warrant. So immediately we have to separate ourselves from the family, and the responsibilities, and fully prepared for going back home, back to Godhead, this responsibility. So Mahārāja Parīkṣit was a Bhagavat. So that's why he, with all grace and strength, he accepted. So this is the point, that we should be also following that instruction, means that kind of role model, that Mahārāja Parīkṣit showed us. Anytime we can also meet our death. So this is our preparation. This life is nothing but the preparation for facing the death. Death is not the problem for us. We all know that one day the body will be finished. Actual point is to remember Krishna at the time of death. Painful means it is emotional painful, situation. Emotional pain is there to be separated from the family, from all the attachments, and for our response, many things, many plans. It is for us. I think that was my point, not for Mahārāja Parīkṣit, because he was already a Mahabhagavat, situated in his own glories. If that was told by me, I'm asking forgiveness, that was not the point. Hare Krishna. Yes?
Hare Krishna. Okay, you hear me. So thank you very much for this very enlivening lecture. I have a question regarding cultivating the Brahminical culture, regarding the personal qualities. So apart from the 4 regulative principles, which are like the basic of this culture, which 5 qualities would you select as the most important for personal cultivation of Brahminical culture and also for training like new people in this culture?
Yes, very good question. Means spiritual culture is rooted in the spiritual conception of life. It's the foundation. So therefore, all the problems or all our activities in this world are going on the basis of our wrong conception of life. Material conception of life, we think that is all in all, as if the self is divided into 2 parts, spirit, soul, and the body. Many beautiful verses are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that bhayam ditya abhiniveshatah. When we forget ourselves as the spirit, soul, part and parcel, means we are connected, kinship with Krishna, we are Krishnas. If that point, that reality is forgotten, then we make whatever good things or do good things or have good knowledge, all are wrong. Because the real point is wrong. I have to go to the north, but instead I have taken the direction to go to the south. So it doesn't matter how far we go and having pleasure about it. It's wrong. Direction is wrong. Result is wrong. So even we go to the right direction, even small distance we cover is our real asset. So one single most important point that we should cultivate is the spiritual understanding of the self. That I am soul. It is not complete. I am not the body, one. It's not complete identity. I am soul. I am not the body. It is also not complete identity. I am part and parcel servant of Krishna. Now this is complete identity. So as we have understood that I am servant of Krishna, so that feeling also come. I must mean that. I am a servant of Krishna. Whatever I do for the pleasure of Krishna, I am Krishna's. That feeling belonging to Krishna is the real culture. And that way we see everyone also as the same. Any fellow person is the same as I am. Then I treat with appreciation, consideration, and respect. In other culture, means material culture, you have to prove that you are worthy of respect, worthy of appreciation, to be treated respectfully, with honor. You have to prove yourself. But here in spiritual culture, it is the reality already. We are all Krishnas. No one is just any ordinary, unknown person. Prabhupada in Bengali wrote many beautiful, beautiful bhajans. One bhajan he wrote Vrindavan bhajan, or bhajan in Vrindavan. He wrote, where is our relatives? They're all gone. I'm alone here in Vrindavan. Then he says, relative doesn't mean when we have connection with the body, blood relations or any kind of friendship. We also, develop friendship with others due to body, or, oh, she is this, I am also this, let's have the friendship. But he says, on the basis of spirit, soul, we are all relatives. All the living beings. Because all the living beings are parts and parcels of Krishna. I am Krishna's, they are also Krishna's originally. So on the basis of that alone, we develop our culture. Respecting, honoring, and have the consideration, appreciating. These are the basic culture. So this is the most important thing. All right? Thank you so much. So Srimad Bhagavatam ki